And that was when I started on the Teleform show, my 1 hour a month that I've been doing. And it's been off and on, mostly on, but there was a few years that I skipped off and things change and life changes. But here I am. I'm Tom Young, the financial coach on WBBP, WNBA. Been at this for 49 years. It's a long time. And back in the beginning, I would have never thought that it would have turned into the career that it did.
Well, you got that great radio voice to start with.
It's been a learning experience. It really has. And I have yet this week, tomorrow will be my 743rd podcast. So I do a podcast every Wednesday that talks about a lot of different topics. And, my forte is the financial world. I help people find money they're losing unknowingly and unnecessarily, show them how to get it back and use it efficiently to create either tax-favored or maybe even tax-free retirement income. But there's so many elements today in our atmosphere that are against us, and that includes the knowledge and education that we have been given about money. I have proven to myself over and over again and to clients that the truth is really not what everybody's telling you. We're going to talk about a lot of that today. I really focus on what I refer to as efficiency of money planning. You must be efficient with your money. I own a business called First Consultants in Beaver. We're at 1413 3rd Street in Beaver. Phone number 724-728-6820. I actually challenge you to come and visit me for 45 minutes. I promise you 2 promises. I won't ask you to buy anything. Won't be a second meeting unless you want it. But I believe in that 45 minutes I can open your eyes to things that you may not even know exist, or possibilities that you didn't even know exist in your own financial life. I've written several books. Most recently, 2 books is The Family Money Farm, The CFO Project, which was published by Dorrance Publishing in Pittsburgh. And the other one is a second book to that, Financial Mastery Coaching, The Blueprint, which follows that line. And very simply, I like to compare efficient planning with what I would call typical planning. See, traditional planning is more in line with what I do. Now, when I say traditional planning, I'm talking about pre-1960, pre-1970. You got to go way back to really get into what would be known as traditional planning. Today, we've got a government that is knowingly or unknowingly, They infect our mind with their yesterday was 37.290 trillion is the debt of America. They spent 7.2 trillion in the last 12 months because we're coming up, September's the end of the fiscal year, and they're short 2 trillion. They collected 5.2 trillion in revenue, tax revenue from all sources, so they were 2 trillion short. And I really... I got to get in your head. I got to get you thinking differently because that $2 trillion that they bet, they're spending more than $1 trillion. Now think of 37 trillion and take that times 4%. Okay, so how much is that? That's $1.4 trillion just in interest. If they were 2 trillion short, they're borrowing to pay the interest. More debt, just to pay the interest. The interest is more than the military, than all of the protection, the military budget of the U.S. government. At some point in time, there is an end to this game. And I see signs everywhere that it is getting very, very close. There are things that have happened in the world. BRICS, it's an organization that has been created to take over the money supply of the world. In other words, they don't want to play in the SWIFT system, is what the banking system is known as. It's called the SWIFT system. And it's built on debt. I mean, everything, our dollars are all built on debt. There was a document that was created by a guy named Harvey Francis Bernard in the 1990s called NASARA. Okay, that's the National Economic Stability and Reformation Act. It's interesting because if you read this document, and if you want a copy of it, send me an email to firedupT@comcast.net. That's firedupT, FIREDUPT @comcast.net. And I will send you a copy of this document. It's interesting. Zeroes out all credit card, mortgage, and other bank debt. Due to illegal banking and government activities, this is the Federal Reserve's worst nightmare. The Federal Reserve is unique. You have to go back to 1913 when it was created. Isn't it interesting that the income tax in America was created about the same time? The Federal Reserve came out of a group of rich businessmen and bankers. They actually met at a place called Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia. And you can buy the book. It's called The Creature of Jekyll Island, tells the story of the creation of the Federal Reserve. And initially it was referred to as the banking cartel. Now, folks, just think of that word, the banking cartel. What would your reaction to that be if in fact, that here's this organization, it's a banking cartel?
Sounds a little suspicious.
I would think so. We have cartels in Mexico that we're dealing with right now,
Colombia,
that aren't really good, and other things. So the word cartel connotates maybe not the right thing, not a good thing. But here we are today. And they have painted themselves into a corner. Now, we've all heard that comment. You've got yourself painted into the corner. Well, they painted themselves into the corner, and then they removed the floor. So they're stuck in the corner of the room and can't get out. And that means that right now, the Federal Reserve, if they were a bank, they would be in total default right now and in bankruptcy because they have the ability to print money from nothing. It keeps them solvent, and I believe right now they are not auditable. They've never been audited. There's always talk about audit the Fed and all this stuff, and that's never been done. We talk about the gold standard that went away in 1973, and why did that happen? Well, it happened because a group of men in the world, men and women, they created this think tank called the Club of Rome. And you can look them up there. You can find them. They're on the internet. They're still there. They formed in about 1968. And they were supposedly at that time the smartest people on the planet. And their mission statement was to save humanity. They were going to make predictions into the future that would save humanity in some way or predict what was going to happen. And their first prediction, isn't it interesting, was the world was going to run out of crude oil by 1993. That was their first prediction. And I guess we didn't run out of oil in 1993. And they tell us now that there's so much, we got 200-300 years with the technology that has been developed to find it and to get it out of the ground and turn it into gasoline and whatever products need to come out of it. But they predicted that. Now, let's go back to 1968. I actually brought a book with me we'll go to. I'll be 76 years old next month, so I was born in the year 1949. And I brought, this was a gift on a birthday, Remember When Nostalgia, and I'm going to talk about some things in that book and how we get our mind sort of caught up in the wrong things in planning. But OPEC, now it was believed in 1969 that 85% of all the oil in the world, where do you think it was? Saudi Arabia. It was believed to be in Saudi Arabia. So there was a world oil broker in South America named Perez, and he knew everybody in the world dealing with this oil stuff. And there was a group of men in the U.S., and they were known as the Texas Railroad Commission. Ever heard of that before?
I have not.
You have not? Well, look it up. You know what they do? They monitor and control the production of oil and gas and minerals. Where? In the U.S.
Sounds very powerful.
So Perez went to the Arabs and said, look, you guys have got all this oil in your ground. Imagine what would happen if you could control the production and the price of it. And so they formed OPEC, 1969. Oil was $1.23 for a barrel of crude. I remember in 1967, I worked at a Keystone gas station. I graduated high school in 67. I worked at a Keystone gas station on the corner of Duss Avenue and H Street in Ambridge. And gas, a bunch of us would get together on a Saturday night, everybody throw in a buck or two, and gas was a 27 and 9. And we rode all night on in the car, just what it was. And 3 years later, in 1972, doggone it, crude oil went to $12 a barrel. Now you may not be old enough to remember, but in 1974 there were gas lines in America.
I remember the rationing the license plates.
That's exactly right. Depending on the number on your license plate was your day to get gas or not get gas. And I remember on the 11 o'clock news at night, there would be these fights. In other words, here's the gas line, and somebody would cut in, and you think it was the beginning of road rage. Yeah. But it was road rage in the line at the gas station in getting gasoline. And that, in turn, it was one of the catalysts that forced Nixon to remove us from the gold standard. Now, the gold standard was our money had silver certificates. So it said on our money, payable to the bearer on demand, gold or silver. And there was a movie called Rollover that was Jane Fonda and Chris Christopherson were the two leading actors in it. And it was, Christopherson was a world oil banker, and the Arabs at this time had this $100 million CD. Now, today, the $100 million, they talk about that like nothing. But in 1973, 69, that was a lot of money back then. And it was believed that if the Arabs didn't roll it over, and just renew it, and they said, I want my money, they were going to break America and cause America to crash financially. That was the center point of the movie. It was interesting how appropriate it was when we look back at the time in history and what was really going on. At that time, nobody really understood what was going on. And that opened the door to what I refer to as Pandora's box, which is the beginning of fractional banking, which the Federal Reserve had a few $100 billion on their balance sheet or a few $100 million on their balance sheet in the beginning. And today they got $6-7 trillion. Now, we throw that word trillion around like it means something. You have no concept of how much $1 trillion is.
I have trouble with $1 billion.
$1 million is how many? It's 1,000 thousands. Okay? $1 billion is 1,000 million. $1 trillion is 1,000 billion. That's the reaction. What is that? And we every day we see our government spending our money and doing the things that they do, and really it messes with your mind because you're not really thinking clearly. And I find that people don't do enough research. Everything I talk about is as factual as I can be. If I tell you something and it's my opinion, I will tell you it's my opinion, and we'll go from there. I know we got to take some breaks, so let's take a break, and we're going to come back before news, and we're going to get into this Remember When.
I look forward to that. Stay right there. And we are streaming on Facebook if you want to see Tom Young.
Football season is in full swing, and so are the deals on F-Series trucks at Moon Township Ford. Stop in now and save up to $4,000 in dealer discounts on America's #1 selling truck, the Ford F-150, plus additional rebates which everyone qualifies for, or rates as low as 0%. No matter where you go, the Ford F-150 is the quintessential American truck to take you to the football field or anywhere you want to go. No wonder it's the most popular vehicle sold in the U.S., and you could save up to $5,000 in dealer discounts on America's toughest player on the field, the Super Duty. It's all a part of the August Spectacular going on now at Moon Township Ford. Not everyone will qualify. Please see dealer for additional details. Moon Township Ford, University Boulevard, across from Robert Morris.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
We have Art Cornell here from the Beaver Cemetery and Mausoleum. Art, what's new at the cemetery?
We've just completed a new addition to the mausoleum with above-ground burial crypts, indoor and outdoor niches, and family areas. The Beaver Mausoleum advantages include no plot maintenance, the convenience of a heated and air-conditioned building for visitation, and an adjoining private chapel. It's a perfect final resting place for your loved ones.
Thanks, Art. Beaver Cemetery and Mausoleum, serving all of Beaver County since 1865.
Be more wild. Are you tired of sitting around at home this summer? Bring your family and come down to the African Safari Wildlife Park located in Port Clinton, Ohio. We have giraffe, zebra, bison, and much more. So skip the lines at the amusement park and come experience the safari for yourself. Are you tired of the normal zoo experience? Looking for an exciting way to see animals up close? Take Route 2 to the Route 53 North exit and follow the signs. Just 17 miles west of Cedar Point via Route 6. Open every day, rain or shine.
Hey, it's Charlie and Debbie, along with NASCAR legend Kyle Petty, inviting you to join us for Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown.
Each week, we'll put it in reverse and take a trip down memory lane, looking back at that week's top 20 country songs from years past.
We'll dive into what made those songs and artists move the needle, what pop culture trends made those years unique.
And you'll get to hear me tell stories only I can tell.
So don't miss Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown right here each week.
Saturdays at noon, brought to you by Falcone's Moon Township Ford, the Latham team at eXp Realty, Canoes Body Works, and Beaver County Radio.
It's hard to even put a title on what Tom Young at First Consultants in Beaver does. Calling him a financial planner or an insurance salesman or even a life coach still doesn't accurately describe the experience. That's because he brings dreams back to life or puts life back into retirement.
My job is to create in you the vision of the you that I think you can be, the place that I think you can get to. And you know what? I get frustrated because I see more greatness in people than they see in themselves. I see greater financial futures than they see in themselves. Most people don't believe they can get there.
Find out more by visiting firstconsultantsinc.com or engage in Tom Young's live simulcast presentation on the third Tuesday of each month beginning at 9:10 a.m. on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live. All advisory services are offered through PL Wealth LLC. PL Wealth is a federally registered investment advisor. PL Wealth is in no way affiliated with First Consultants Inc., nor is First Consultants Inc. a registered investment advisor.
We are joined in studio with Tom Young and First Consultants. Good to have you here. And you can watch us on Facebook, our Beaver County Radio Facebook page as well. Take it away.
You know, you also can find me on my Facebook page, so we're streaming live there at the same time. So we're literally going worldwide at this moment in time, and I see people on there actually as far away as Pakistan, South Africa.
Wow.
That I have followers that it just blows my mind the amount of people that have found me and follow me. Before we go to break, I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to give everybody. So I want you to get a pencil and I want you to write some things down. And you're not going to remember all of them. We'll go over them after the news when we come back.
All right.
But this is the new high school exit exam. To get out of high school, you know the answer. Passing requires 4 correct answers. How long did the 100-year war last?
I know it was longer than 100 years.
Okay. Which country makes Panama hats?
Okay.
From which animal do we get catgut?
All right.
Okay. In which month do Russians celebrate the October Revolution? What is a camel's hair brush made of? The Canary Islands in the Pacific, named after what animal? What was King George V's first name? What color is a purple finch? Where are Chinese gooseberries from? What is the color of the black box in a commercial airplane? Now, if you remember those, we'll come back to the answers to those after the news. So it's just something to think about for a while. We'll come back.
I'm intrigued.
But, when we think of our mind, if something you thought to be true wasn't true, when would you want to know, Scott?
Right away.
Right. You'd want to know right away. And that's really what we get. You know, it isn't what you get by achieving your goal is not important as who you become by achieving that goal. So now in 1949, I'm going to give you some things here. 1949, new house, $7,450. Ooh. Average income, $2,959 a year, $2,959 a year. New car, $1,420. Average rent in America, $70. Tuition to Harvard University, $600 per year. A movie ticket cost 60 cents, and gasoline was 17 cents a gallon. Now, there's a point there. What did I say? In 1967, it was 27.9 is what we paid for gas. I paid for gas when I was in high school. And in 1949, almost 20 years prior, was 17 cents a gallon. So in almost 20 years, it went from 17 cents to 27.9. Was there much inflation, Scott?
Not that much.
Do you understand? The thing here is when we were under a gold standard, we didn't have all of this inflation stuff. First class postage stamp, 3 cents. Granulated sugar, 85 cents for 10 pounds. Vitamin D milk, 84 cents a gallon. Ground coffee, 65 cents a pound. Bacon, 50 cents a pound. Eggs were 24 cents a dozen. Fresh ground hamburger, 47 cents per pound. And fresh baked bread was 14 cents a loaf. Now, the point of that struck me last night when I found this. I was going through some papers and I found this. But here we are today doing financial planning for the future for our lives. We're trying to create some kind of financial security for our future. And financial planning, I have all these initials after my name. So what they taught me was how to get control of your money and turn it over to the financial world. There was no education in there about teaching you anything. So today, after the news, we're going to get into, nothing is the same as it was 10, 20, 30, 50 years ago. What do you think it's going to be like 10, 20, 30, 50 years from now? Do you think you can plan for that, Scott?
I can't, but I bet you can.
Well, we're going to talk about efficiency of money versus planning with goals. Okay. Two totally different things. One works, it's never worked, and the other one works. So we'll come back after the news. I see it's 9:30 at news time.
I look forward to that. Here we go.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning. On this Tuesday, August 19th of 2025, we will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. Shaler Area School District in Allegheny County postponed their first day of school for the 2025 to 2026 school year yesterday morning because of a shooting threat on Sunday. The first day of school for Shaler Area School District students was supposed to be today, but will now be tomorrow. According to court documents, 28-year-old Daniel White showed up to resolve crisis services in the Homewood neighborhood of Pittsburgh on Sunday, threatening to kill and hurt 2 people. White was taken into custody yesterday morning and faces charges, which are 3 counts of terroristic threats. According to authorities, White is not believed to have any connection to Shaler Area School District. Shaler Area School District Superintendent Brian E. O'Black and Shaler Police Chief Sean Frank sent a letter to families yesterday morning saying the orientation day for Shaler Area School District students in grades K, 4, 7, and 9, which was supposed to be yesterday, has been postponed until today. According to East Rochester Mayor Bob Knox, Hopan Gueros Mexican Restaurant, LLC, opened in late July of 2025 at 810 Ohio River Boulevard in East Rochester. The location of this new restaurant is the exact location where the former 1942 Tacos and Tequila restaurant in East Rochester used to perform business in. That former restaurant got raided by ICE agents on April 23, 2025, and resulted in 8 people getting taken into custody. Pennsylvania State Police in Beaver report that 32-year-old Jasper Clancy of Aliquippa was arrested on Friday for driving under the influence of alcohol in Aliquippa. Clancy was stopped by Pennsylvania State Police during a traffic stop on the 800 block of Franklin Avenue. Clancy was arrested for driving under the influence during the stop, and his charges are pending. Pennsylvania recently launched an online application for pardons, becoming one of the first states to digitize the process for people seeking to clear their record of criminal convictions. Thousands of people apply annually, seeking approval from the 5-member Board of Pardons and the governor to wipe their records of criminal history. Previously, people had to fill out paper applications and mail it to the board with relevant documents. Officials say the process was onerous for applicants, and Board of Pardons staff Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis says the online application is intended to give more people the opportunity to earn a pardon, as well as make processing those applications easier and more efficient. PennDOT District 11 announced that tonight, weather permitting, a lane restriction on Route 885 on Irvine Street and 2nd Avenue in the city of Pittsburgh will occur. From 8 p.m. tonight to 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, a single lane restriction will occur as needed under the railroad bridge at the intersection of 2nd Avenue, Irvine Street, and Greenfield Avenue. Groundwater monitoring equipment will be removed by crews from DLZ American Drilling. And acting U.S. Attorney Troy Ravetti announced yesterday that a Hacienda Heights, California resident pleaded guilty to 1 count of mail fraud and got sentenced to 9 months in jail, followed by 3 years of federal supervised release on his conviction. 43-year-old Ting Hong Young pleaded guilty on Thursday for his actions. According to information presented to the court from in and around August of 2018 through in and around June of 2020, Young, using various corporate entities, submitted or caused to be submitted over 6,000 fraudulent claim requests for lost or damaged ground package shipments that were not actually lost or damaged. Subsequently, Young got payments of settlement that were related to these claim submissions that are fraudulent for shipments that were lost or damaged.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Mostly sunny, hot, and humid today. We can expect to see highs near 88. Cloudy tonight with a chance of showers and thunderstorms. We'll drop down to a low around 67. A chance of showers and thunderstorms off and on throughout the day and evening tomorrow. Look for highs near 82 and lows in the mid-60s. And partly sunny on Thursday with a slight chance of afternoon showers. We'll see highs near 80 and lows around 60. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Tuesday, August 19th of 2025 at 35 minutes after 9, we've got a temperature of 72 degrees currently in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation are on the move, and they're coming your way with the best Beaver County has to offer. You're listening to Beaver County Radio, proudly presented by Fry Transportation.
We are back in studio with Tom Young of First Consultants. Tom, you left us hanging. We were talking about, first of all, 1949 and those prices. Did you hear those prices, Noah? If it was a house cost $7,000 or something.
$7,000 for a house, yeah. It's funny because you think about that and compare from 49 to 67 when I graduated high school, and gas went from 17 cents a gallon to 27.9. So something has happened from around that time, and the kicker was 1973 when we were removed from the gold standard, and that literally gave the Federal Reserve the ability to print money uncontrolled. They're not controlled by the federal government. They're not overseen by the federal government. They're not audited by the federal government. They're just a bunch of rich bankers from around the world that operate the Federal Reserve System that now might be referred to as part of the deep state. If you get the drift of the deep state and what is going on, I don't want to turn you off, folks, but yes, I'm a Trumper and a MAGA person because America's in trouble. And another politician elected is not going to save America. And I really believe that the road that we're on right now is going to be very, very challenging. Anyway, let me get back. If you want to get my books, there's 2 books. You can get both of them. CFO-project.com. Go to CFO-project.com. Put in your name and email address. You'll get an email with a link that will allow you to download cover to cover both of those books. And those 2 books are the key to beginning a successful financial life with being in control of your money and learning how to use it. in the best way and the most efficient manner. When we were talking about that, let me go back our little high school exam. Let me give you some answers to the questions. Okay, how long did the 100-Year War last? 116 years. Which country makes Panama hats? Ecuador. From which animal do we get catgut? Sheep and horses. In which month do the Russians celebrate October Revolution in November? What is a camel hair's brush made of? Squirrel hair.
I did not know that.
The Canary Islands in the Pacific are named after what animal? Dogs. What was King George's V's sixth first name? Albert. What color is a purple finch? Crimson. Where are the Chinese gooseberries from? New Zealand. And what is the color of the black box in a commercial airplane? Orange.
I did not know that. Any of that.
I thought that was interesting. You had to bring that with me today.
I do remember the comedian saying, why don't they build the airplanes out of the same material the black box is made out of? Because the black box
that would make sense, Scott.
Right.
You know, the plane crashes and just destroyed, but the black box, there it is. It's still found and it's still good in doing that. You know, why do we do what we do? And I have a little poem that I use that I think about all the time. It's called The Little Chap That Follows Me. A careful man I want to be, a little fellow follows me. I do not dare to go astray, for fear he'll go the self-same way. I cannot once escape his eyes, where he sees me do he tries. Like me he says he's going to be, the little chap who follows me. He thinks that I'm so very fine, believes in every word of mine. The base in me he must not see, the little chap who follows me. I must remember as I go through summer sun and winter snow, I'm building for the years to be the little chap who follows me. And this has such meaning to me because I have an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old grandson. And I look at everything going on in the world and I worry about their future and what is going to transpire and which over the last 20, 30 years, I have evolved in my thinking with, all these initials after my name and all the education that I've obtained about the financial world. And I find that most of it is not really focused on you being the best you can be at what you do. It is really focused on the financial world being in control of the money. This idea of Nasara Jasara, again, that document, a couple of things on here, Jubilee of Debt Forgiveness, abolishes the income tax. Now, I go through this and I read this, and if you pay attention to what is actually going on right now, the tariff program that Trump has created has the ability to eliminate and replace the income tax and the IRS. That is part of, I believe, the game plan going forward.
That's something that
because
Bernie
the
Sanders
IRS is too powerful.
proposing.
They have more power than any organization over us in the government, and it was never meant to be that.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to change. So the numbers that I heard, if you make $150,000 a year or less, which is about 90% of the people, they would not have any income tax. Wouldn't have to file income tax forms, wouldn't pay, and then there becomes a national sales tax. So you get your paycheck, you get 100% of your money, minus medical or whatever benefits you're paying for. So you get all your money, no tax deducted from it. When you go to the store, you're going to pay tax. You're going to pay tax on things, but food and medicines and those type of things are not going to be taxed, as some of them are in some places today.
Let me stop. Do you think we'll see that someday?
It is happening before our eyes, Scott, incrementally in everything that's going on. And the new player in the field is cryptocurrency. And I can't even tell you that I understand it. What is it? Where does it come from? It's created in computer algorithms that supposedly aren't duplicatable. It's like Bitcoin. It reached a high of $122,000 per coin. Right now it's about $116,000 per coin. Imagine if you'd have bought that when it started, when it was $25 and et cetera. I believe there are things right now going on that are opportunities, but most people do not have the capacity, the mental capacity, because we are so brainwashed by the news media, the mainstream news media, that lies to us and does not ever tell us the whole story. They tell us enough of the story to get you to think a certain way. You know, the 6 inches between your ears is the most important thing that you have in doing that. You know, here, knowledge is something you learn. Wisdom is the ability to apply that knowledge to your everyday life. And that is the biggest ingredient that I believe is truly missing, is there's no real financial education. There is a program called PEMLife.org that is a foundation that one of my key mentors in my life, a guy named Don Blanton, created a business called Circle of Wealth. We have software, that's the main software that I use, but I can put your situation in that software and run what I call the movie. And I can tell you when you're going to run out of money. Wouldn't you like to know that, Scott? Am I going to run out? Do I need to do more than I'm doing? In other words, I can do that. There are 4 questions that everybody wants the answers to. Number 1 is, how much do I need to be saving? Number 2, how much interest do I have to earn on that savings? And number 3 is, when is the date? What is the retirement date? So when I get to that date, I will have enough money in savings that will provide me an income for the rest of my life expectancy with adjustments for inflation. I don't know anybody else that doesn't know. I don't know anybody that doesn't want to know the answer. The 4th one is, how much might I have to adjust my lifestyle based on the amount of money I have in order to be able to live throughout my life expectancy with adjustments for inflation? These 4 questions are the key to everything, and I can answer those 4 questions in about 20 minutes in my office. And again, like I said, 45-minute meeting doesn't cost anything. I don't charge a fee for that. I get paid in basically 2 ways. I get paid, if you buy insurance in any way, you can't buy it directly. You have to go through a licensed professional. I am licensed to do what I do. I have to do 24 credit hours every 2 years, so it's ongoing education. And all the 49 years I've been doing this, I always took college courses. I always took upper-level educational courses. I mean, I could spend $100 and take a course that didn't learn anything and get credit hours that I need to maintain my license, but did I learn anything? Not really. So I have always taken college courses through the American College in Bryn Mawr, PA, and I just finished a course on taxation and IRA taxation, which was a program that was created by Ed Slott. Some of you out there may have heard of Ed Slott. He is the Managing Your IRA King, and I just completed that training. And I learned stuff that I didn't even know that it existed about pitfalls in your IRAs. When you pass on and an IRA gets passed on to your heirs, there are things that people are doing that actually cause you to lose more money than you need to. There is other types of planning that needs to be done that you need to be aware of. So another thought in mind in what's going on. So the crypto now, the Genius Act, anybody heard of the Genius Act? That was a new act about a month ago that was passed in Congress, that it was encouraged by Trump. The Genius Act made cryptocurrency a currency. So we are on the cusp right now, in the very near future, I believe, within maybe weeks, that crypto will be something you can spend as money instead of the dollars that we use right now. So there's other things that are going to happen that are outside our realm of thinking, that we're not really thinking of, and what we're doing and how we're going to do it. So that's another thing going on. You need to read books by Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote several books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He is, in my mind right now, one of the most influential money coaches on the planet. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Cash Flow Quadrant. Those 2 books, his first 2 books, are a must-read books.
Repeat that name, the author.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad is Robert Kiyosaki. And he is an amazing guy. I met him once in Pittsburgh. He actually was doing seminars in Pittsburgh, and I had a booth at his seminar, and I got to meet him and got my picture taken with him. He's just an amazing, amazing guy, and he created a game called Cash Flow that I play in my office. So it's another thing that we do in doing that. So the difference between efficiency planning and typical planning. We talked about typical planning. There are 4 rules the financial world has, Scott. I want all your money. I want more ongoing. I want to keep it forever, and I want to give back as little as possible. That allows the financial world, Wall Street, the banks, and even the government involvement in that money to stay in control of it in perpetuity. And the number one advice that we get about where we should save money for retirement is your IRA, 401k, 403b, 457 plan, which is a government program similar to a 401k. And that's where we're told to save our money. Put as much as you can there. Well, here's a question, Scott. Do you think taxes in the future are going to be higher, the same, or lower than they are today?
Higher.
I think with $37.290 trillion of debt, and we're borrowing more than $1 trillion a year just to pay the interest. Now think about that, folks. Again, I'm gonna get in your head. You're in debt. Most everybody has some kind of debt in their life. Imagine what your life would be like if you had to borrow to pay the payments on your debt. You had to borrow to pay the interest on your debt. You had to borrow from another source. How long could you do that, Scott?
Not for too long.
Not for too long. Well, that's what leads me. I believe we're coming to the end of the road with the Federal Reserve, and I believe things there are going to change in a big way. So what does a 401k do for you? Now, you may get a small match. Used to be big matches, but those all went away. Usually now the average match I see, if there's one, is 2 or 3% on your 2 or 3%. You put in 6 and they'll match 3%. So it's a minimal amount of money that they put into your pot. And that really doesn't pay your tax. That's the thinking. Well, they put in the match, and that's going to pay my expenses and pay my tax. And there is still yet no disclosure. What are the fees inside your 401k? Somebody's getting paid somewhere to manage that money. What are the fees in your 401k? Here's a product for you, a variable annuity, which are very prevalent in the investment marketplace. They are the most expensive product to own. I have a lady that was in my office a couple of months ago. Her variable annuity, I won't name the company or anything, but it was worth $222,000. She started it in 2006, Scott, 19 years ago. It was $215,000 was the basis in the contract. That was the beginning amount. 19 years later, it's $222,000. The monthly fee is $954 a month. Who got all her money, Scott?
That's a fee, $950.
$954 a month on a $222,000 value. So who's getting her rate of return? She didn't get any. $215 19 years ago to $222 today, and got it's an IRA, so you still got to pay tax on it when you go to take the money. So where was the rate of return? And unfortunately, the guy that was managing her accounts her husband passed away, and he talked her into staying where it was. I don't understand the thinking that people have. Okay? Your future will result from your imagination or someone else's. And that is so important. You have to dream or someone else will. You go to work every day to make somebody else's dream come true. You work here in this building, Scott. You're an employee of St. Barnabas, owns the radio station. I think they have a dream of what they want to do. Who's working here? Your dream or their dream? So that is what life is all about. And you've got to decide, you have to make a decision about personal growth. Am I going to grow me to become a better person, more knowledgeable, more ability to manage my circumstances, and maybe to help understand my circumstances and do better at it? Or am I not going to do that and let the world grow me into what they want me to be and take all my wealth? I teach people 4 rules. I have 4 rules in my planning. Number 1, the goal is to get to 20% of your annual income in savings. I have yet to meet anybody that has already doing 20% of their gross into savings, because the typical financial planning world always said 10%. You've heard that. I know, Scott. Save 10% of your money and you're going to be fine. No, it doesn't work. It never has worked. And somebody show me a plan that was created 20, 30 years ago and you've been consistently saving 10% of your money and you're rich today. Scott, here's a question, Scott. Do you know somebody that is rich? I mean, rich.
A couple people.
Now, did they get there making their 401k maximum payments at work? Or did they get there because they created a service or a business or a product that somebody wanted to buy?
The latter. Service. Yeah.
So getting rich, and that word rich, and I hear people, well, I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be like those rich people. Well, what do you mean like those rich people? See, your thinking is screwed up because you don't really know. I know a lot of people. I know several people that are very wealthy. And I, because I'm inside track with them, I see what they do financially. I see what they do philanthropically. And I see that. It's not saying they're all that way. There are bad people at all levels of the spectrum, whether you're rich, poor, otherwise. We see that in the news every day. People that are rich, poor, there are bad people. But I believe for the most part that there is good in America, there is good in the world, and we have to step up and accept that. We have to create our own belief. I have to believe that I am going to become the best person I can become. Whatever that is, I want to be the best I can be at what I do. That's always been my mantra. So I always took college courses to get better at what I do. And you need to do the same thing. I mean, whatever it is, now here you are, folks. This is the real challenge. I'm going to change the narrative. Now, I'm not talking to you, another adult sitting here listening to me on the radio, but now you're talking to your children. What message would you want to give to your children? Don't you want them to be the best they can be? And you, my daughter, I love my daughter and my grandsons. My one grandson does hockey, and you have to involve your children in all kinds of activity. You have to help them find that thing that they're good at. Because not everybody is good at everything. But I believe, and there was this autistic kid on America's Got Talent recently that I saw, autistic kid, played the piano. I mean, how do you account for that, Scott? People that we look at and know they're retarded, they're challenged, and yet somebody helped this one find that talent that was buried inside. And I believe that talent is inside every human being. I have a little copper coin that I pass out to people, and I'm not going to go into it today, but I believe there is an eagle inside the heart of every human being on the planet. And I help people realize and believe that is there. And I know we got to go. How much time do I have, Scott? I got 1 more minute. So we're going to wrap up. We're going to continue this conversation next month on the efficiency planning concept. My 4 rules: save 20% of your income. Number 2, you need to accumulate 50% of your annual gross income in accessible capital. Number 3, no consumer debt. Consumer debt is you bought something and you couldn't pay for it out of 30 days of income. So that means you've dedicated future income you have yet to earn to pay for something that probably won't exist or be worn out when you pay for it and going forward. And number 4 is you understand the concept of being the CFO at home. And you take on the responsibility of living your life that way. I call it the family money farm. You know, all adults in the family are part of the board of directors. They all share in use of the money and become the banking concept, the function of the banking system in your own personal life. I'm Tom Young. You can reach me at 724-728-6820. give yourself an opportunity to see through somebody else's eyes. God bless you all. We'll see you here next month.
Very well done. Thank you, Tom. Thought-provoking words from Tom Young.
St. Barnabas thanks you for listening